Welcome to the ThinkFactory podcast. We got one question for you. What keeps you up at night?
I'm your host today, Chris Santamassimo from OGC Solutions, and I'm excited to welcome Tobias Sternbeck to the podcast. Tobias is the CEO of Beaver Paper. He and I had a chance to meet and get to know each other at the Printing United Expo back in October in Las Vegas. So as we're always on the lookout for interesting people talking about what they do and what their company does, Tobias really rose to the top, and I'd love to introduce you to the crowd. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Christopher. Pleasure to be on board here. I actually always get emails from you every single day, I think. So from that perspective, and it was great meeting you at Printing United and then coming up with the idea, let's do something together. So happy to be here.
I'm happy to introduce the folks that listen to the podcast to what you do. So Beaver Paper, we know generally what the company does just by its name, but I'd love to learn more about the global connection, talk about some of the products and the offerings that you have. So take it away and introduce us to Beaver Paper.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Beaver Paper is originated actually in Canada in the very first beginning, but then moved south here to the region of Atlanta in Georgia. That's roughly 45 years ago. Beaver's been always related to the textile industry. First with cut and sewn products for the really cutting industry, like we used to know all those things. And then I think it started all in 1999, where Beaver Paper was one of the pioneers in the digital world of dye sublimation. And then we grew it from there. Entered the market with a few products that all our customers in the rotogravure printing industry for textile or screen printing industry needed, as they, by coincidence, had an inkjet printer there for proving, and they didn't know what to do with it.
And there you are.
There we are, and the industry is still growing. We came from maybe, 3 square meters an hour, and there's some color on the paper and later on some color on the textile. And now we're printing much faster. There's more potential in the industry. So it's been an interesting journey, I would say, from the start in this digital world until now.
Let's break it down a little bit. I'm curious about the connection between paper and textiles. So maybe you could talk about where Beaver was in that connection.
Like I said, so we've been in the cut and sewn industry, so to say. So this is literally the cutting paper, the design paper, how you do your patterns, then also cutting around it. So all the fabrics we're wearing, you are wearing, I'm wearing, are cutted before they get sewn. So and that's the origin from Beaver Paper. So we've been always serving this industry and some surrounding products. And when the market started to go digital, then we jumped in.
And talk a little bit for folks that aren't familiar with it. What is dye sublimation, and how is it central to the business?
Dye sublimation is literally you're getting ink out of a solid state when it is on our paper. It goes into gas due to heat, and then it goes into only polyester fibers, so no cotton, no natural fabrics. Polyester opens up due to the heat, and the ink penetrates into the yarn, into the fiber. And once it cools off, then literally the polyester closes again. And then you have a colored fabric. Mainly you find that in the sportswear industry. You find that in the fashion industry, especially fast fashion industry. I don't know if you can see behind me, there are some skis. So that's also dye sublimated. If you have those mugs on your desk, like best dad in the world, that's dye sublimation. So literally everything you can print on if it has a polyester surface.
Right. So you're dyeing into the fibers that eventually become the textile.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That is correct. Yeah.
Gotcha. So how did that experience of being expert in dye sublimation take its next path, so to speak, and bring Beaver Paper where it is today?
Since we've been always related and we started to grow with the market in the very first place, but then I think the market evolved. The printers got faster, the colors were correct, so you could achieve a Pantone 456 or whatever it is. And yeah, we just listened to the market and which direction we have to go in the market, what's coming up next. And so we just followed the market, introduced new materials, especially in the sportswear and fashion industry, where it really the market evolved extremely into specific areas where there were special needs on the paper itself. But then also the market shifted a little bit since in the past, if somebody would traditionally print fabric or textiles, 10,000 running meters or 20,000 running meters for design, no issue at all to sell it. But today the consumer wants to have something new, something different at all times. Nobody wants to wear the same dress or shirt. So digital came into that since you don't need to have such long runs anymore. So you can be faster, you can adapt to changes, you can change colors. And what you can also see more or less coming more now is that people want to have something unique. And if you are printing traditional in rotogravure or in screen, you have a limited design. So the maximum part is like 1 meter, and that's it for the design itself. And for digital, it's endless. You can have one design which is like 500, 1,000 meters, even 10,000 meters would be possible if somebody designs it.
Right.
But the digital world opened up so many things for the consumer that they're now more and more adapting to that.
And I listened to a keynote address by the CEO of Kornit Digital in Israel, and he had a great phrase when he talked about the democratization of print as it applies not only to the consumer who's got, this desire to be a bit unique, but also to the artist and the designers who can print 1 or 2 or 10 rather than 10,000 at a time. And it really brings, it brings the market down to a much more micro level, and results in a lot of creativity, a lot more ability to pivot to market demands, among other things, which I think is really interesting.
Oh, yeah, he's totally right on that. We try to introduce this to the market already multiple times over the last couple of years with some of our partners in the industry, from printer manufacturers, heat press manufacturers, to show what is a microfactory capable of. So how much space do you need to have literally a textile production? So you could open up a shop in your garage if you like to. And this just makes totally sense. And I think also in the pandemic, we've learned that the nearshoring, getting away from far away parts in the world, there were a lot of people invested during the pandemic into this specific industry.
I wasn't aware of, until I listened to that keynote that I mentioned, I wasn't aware of the amount of waste that comes out of the apparel industry because of, products not being sold, the market changes, you've got a much more complex supply chain, and you've printed ahead or you've prepared ahead with the technology you're talking about, Tobias. You're really able to have a lesser impact on the planet, so to speak, just because you're able to pivot much more quickly.
Totally. Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the textile industry is the second largest polluter in the world. But the digital way, especially digital sublimation, is a good part of reducing the carbon footprint or wastewater. We hope that more people adapt onto digital in general. So it doesn't not necessarily only dye sublimation, also other digital parts, since this could reduce the environmental impact a lot.
So tell us about a little bit more specifically about some of the products that are top of mind for Beaver Paper, and maybe new products are in the pipeline as well.
Yeah, we'll try to avoid talking about new products coming up, since hopefully not my competitors
ones that are ready
listening
for
to
prime
that.
time anyway.
That's fine. Beaver Paper always, we thought of us as a service solution provider. And like I said in the beginning, so we try to listen to the market. What do we need? And the market needs more and more efficiency. And therefore, we started to, especially in the fashion industry, we started to develop a 25 GSM fully coated sublimation paper directly in the pandemic. And in this case, we've also been lucky since Beaver Paper is part of the Köhler Paper Group. And we have state-of-the-art paper machines in Germany. So we were able to produce a fully coated lightweight paper, which helps our customers a lot to run longer runs on their machines. So especially the bigger machines, it always takes some time to exchange a roll. And with those high-speed printers, be it up to 400-500 square meters an hour, if you have a normal roll, then, or if you have 2,000 meters on a roll, 3,000 meters on a roll, the frequency of changing the roll is getting higher and higher. And with a 25 GSM, we first of all, we allowed that the people get much more meters on that roll itself. So they don't have to exchange the rolls that often. And also from the environmentally impact and also the efficiency, you don't need to have the transfer time that long anymore. So usually you talk about 40 to 45 seconds as a contact time while transferring. Not that I would recommend it, but we have customers using our 25 GSM paper, which are transferring within 15 seconds, which partly is 1/3 of the original time. So yeah, we always try to have our customers in mind that we help them to get a better product.
Well, and it sounds like you're improving efficiency along the way as well, where you're able to allow your customers to run longer without changes, without switches. That's going to bring value in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. There was the plan behind that. So, and we discussed this with a few people, and they told us their wishes, and we were like, okay, let's go into this direction. Not everybody adopts onto this yet, since still a lot of people are like in the 40-gram paper range, since they feel comfortable with that. And 25 GSM is sometimes for some people still a shocker. They're a little bit afraid of that, but luckily a lot of our customers already did the next step and said, okay, now we try to go to 25 GSM, since we could prove them that it works, that they still can have the same ink loads on the paper, and that they get extremely good results.
You know what I've heard you say a couple of times in our short time together, Tobias, is voice of customer means a lot in terms of your direction, the company's planning, et cetera. What are some of the ways that you gauge the voice of customer, and how do you obtain it? How do you listen to it? How do you react to it?
Let's say for each segment, we have some of our key customers or key players in the market on a global scale. And it's old-fashioned. We either meet up, we just call them, be it via Teams nowadays or still the classic mobile phone. And then we just talk and see what they're up to, what kind of challenges they see, what are their problems, and how maybe we can be part of helping that.
So it's really a solutions-based approach.
Mm-hmm. Let's say if you talk to those people we are talking to, they're like the lighthouses in this industry. So, and if you know that it works for them, it also works for others. So you don't need to make a survey with 200 people or 200 companies. Might be counterproductive, and you get hopefully you get a good amount of informations back. But I think in general, if you have a few people you can trust and rely on, and they know what they're doing and what they're talking about, this helps a lot.
Right. So it's really just doing what most companies do, but you take it to heart, and that you're able to implement some of the ideas that you get in order to just provide that more broad-based solution rather than just selling products hoping people buy them.
Yeah. Well, we understand our customers as partners, so it's not really a customer, it's more a partner in the industry. Since if they do well, we do well. If they do good, the industry is good.
Right.
So I think this is the approach Beaver Paper has, be it here in the Americas world or in the European market.
And so, speaking of that, you're relatively new to the company. I mean, it's been for a little over 4 years now. How
Hmm.
do you view the U.S. market? What does that mean for Beaver Paper, and what kind of opportunities do you see here?
Mm, it's a very interesting market in all sorts of things. The market here itself is a little bit more, it's not really a big manufacturer's market anymore. So a lot of big manufacturing moved into Asia, slowly getting back or nearshored to the Central and Southern American part. Um, but the US is a very interesting, it's a very unique market. There's a lot of oversize sizes, like 3 meter 20 is a lot. People embrace that here. The textile is a little bit easier to ship cross country than PVC vinyl. So this is something you see here a lot.
Hmm.
People have partly interesting ideas. Um, and you have some good people here.
We like to think so, for sure. But it is, and all kidding aside, though, it is definitely unique in terms of the I would think everything. Um, there are some commonalities for sure with European markets, but when the go-to-market strategy is different, the tastes are different, even by region,
Mhm.
and even within sub-regions, you'd say. Um, have you found that the U.S. is more of a collection of niche markets rather than just one big market that has the same kinds of preferences?
I think this collection of niche markets fits it. So it's not unique all across the US, everywhere, like you say. So it's maybe like in the food industry here in the US. So every single corner has their own dishes.
Right.
Um, and it is a big country. So if you just overlay it to Europe, then you can just see how big it really is. I'm always um, fascinated when I have to fly to the West Coast and how long it actually takes. And uh, being a European citizen, how long or where can I go within 5 hours? So I can go to so many destinations in Europe or even already in the Middle East, and here I'm still in the country.
Right.
Kind of interesting. Yeah, but I think it's like you said. So I think a lot of niche markets combined here. They do the best they can out of it. Um, Obviously, yeah, like I said, so you don't really have high volume sportswear production. I think fashion industry we lost a little bit here in the States in general. Um, Out of what reason, I don't know. But most of the fashion industry moved out, and so the focus here is certainly different than in the European world or in the Asian world.
I would say, just in my own observation, we definitely have influence over design. But to your point, the I guess you would say the concentration of design probably is not in New York or in Los Angeles as you might have seen, 15 or 20 years ago. And we're definitely more of a consumption economy when it comes to those
Mhm.
pieces, right? Um, Hopefully, despite the offshoring, as you say, that more and more companies, I think, are reconsidering that because of supply chain
Mhm.
challenges, among other things. And I also think that there's some value in being able to pivot when you're handling your own manufacturing locally, where you avoid a lot of those long supply chain challenges that we talked about. Um, so what are you seeing, Tobias, coming up in the next 6 to 12 months, whether it's here in the US or in Europe, that might influence our market here? Any
Mm,
new technologies that you think are exciting? Anything like that?
What I think right now, and unfortunately, uh, it's done by a film. What I really think is quite interesting right now is the direct to film. Uh, Unfortunately, they also call it DTFs, and for me, DTF is always direct to fabric. I think that's a very interesting market right now. Um, Problem will always be you need to have a very transparent, translucent media. Paper, unfortunately, is not like that. But I think that's something which is hot right now. I think we've seen it at Printing United, but we've also seen this on other shows in Europe or in Asia that most of the people showcase this right now. Yeah, since it's against direct to garment, it's I think their core knit in this case might have a big competitor at the current stage, at least in the shirt print, in the t-shirt printing. The other things which they're doing with their Presto machine is a different ball game, and they do that extremely well. I think what we're all waiting for, like you said, so garment industry used to throw away over production, which they couldn't sell anymore. Changed a bit in the pandemic, so a lot of people brought goods back into warehouses and tried to resell them. I think we're just getting to this point slowly but surely where the warehouse level is on a good and healthy level so that more production ramps up next year. So crossing fingers on that. But yeah, I think I don't think that we will see any revolution in the printing and the dye sublimation world, since I think print speeds, everybody will increase the efficiency, the print speed. We've seen this in the offset market already. And sublimation is still, I wouldn't say in baby shoes, but we're slowly growing up. There will be some more changes coming with speed and maybe some handling. But in general, I think everybody knows this technology is stable. There's nothing super exciting coming. But I think what we will see is that the industry still will more and more get market share from the entire textile printing industry. Be it with nearshoring, be it with microfactories, that the big volumes are going away, and the volume will still be the same, but more different frequent designs into this direction.
Yeah, it might reflect some of the move away from the big box stores that buy in bulk, as opposed to the boutique or even the online seller who sells in small quantities, right? So
I think that's to see that more and more.
I would too. I think it's fascinating, and as I said before, it really democratizes the ability of artists and new creative folks who've got the entrepreneurial spirit to be able to sell their wares. So we'll see how that goes for sure. Well, Tobias, this has been a terrific conversation. I'm glad we had the chance to introduce the audience to Beaver Paper and the exciting things you're doing in the market. Please let us know how folks can contact you.
Well, the best way is to get us under beaverpaper.com. There you find the right person you need to talk to, or send us an email, take your phone, dial our numbers, also both here in the US and also the number in Germany are linked on the website, and get in touch with our team, and hopefully we can convince you to be a happy Beaver customer.
Terrific. Well, Tobias, thank you so much for a great conversation.
Thanks, Christopher.
Again, this has been Tobias Sternbeck, the CEO of Beaver Paper, based here in Georgia in the United States, in Germany at their headquarters. And this has been Chris Santomassimo, host of the ThinkFactory podcast, and we'll see you next time.